James, can you come here for a second? Lisa's voice drifted from the kitchen, cheerful and unusually light. I paused mid-sip of my coffee, a pang of nervousness twisting in my stomach. Something about her tone felt off. Yeah, sure, I called back, setting the mug down and wiping my hands on my jeans. My heart was already racing, though I had no reason to feel this way. After all, Lisa and I had been married for 5 years. We had our share of ups and downs, but nothing out of the ordinary. She always seemed happy, and I made sure to show her love, even if the last few months had been hard with my long hours at the office. I entered the kitchen, where Lisa stood by the sink, her back turned. Her hands fidgeted with the hem of her apron, twisting it around her fingers, as though she was trying to calm herself. That was the first red flag. What's going on? I asked, forcing a casual tone as I leaned against the doorframe. She turned to face me, her eyes shining, lips twitching into a nervous smile. I have some, well, exciting news, I guess. Exciting news? My mind whirled. Did she get a promotion at work? Was she planning a surprise vacation for us? I wasn't sure, but I smiled, waiting for her to continue. Lisa bit her lip, then took a deep breath before blurting out, "I'm pregnant." For a split second, I thought I misheard her. Pregnant. The word echoed in my mind, bouncing around in my skull like a rubber ball. The smile on my face faltered, but I quickly plastered it back on, nodding slowly as my heart dropped into my stomach. Pregnant. I repeated, my voice slightly strained. Wow, that's amazing, Lisa. Her face lit up with joy, clearly oblivious to the turmoil brewing inside me. She rushed forward, wrapping her arms around me in a tight hug, her laughter muffled against my chest. I knew you'd be excited. I can't believe it either, it happened so fast. I held her close, my mind racing. Pregnant. She was pregnant. But I knew for a fact that I couldn't be the father. I found out years ago, during a routine doctor's visit, that I was sterile. There was no chance, none, that I could father a child. Yet here she was, glowing with happiness, oblivious to the truth. I could feel my pulse in my temples as 1,000 questions screamed through my brain. Who? When? How long had this been going on? But none of those questions made it past my lips. Instead, I smiled down at her and said, I'm really happy, Lisa. She pulled back slightly, tears in her eyes, her hands cupping my face. I knew you would be, James. I just knew it. I nodded, but my throat felt tight. My mind was racing through every possible scenario, trying to figure out what to do next. Confront her? Accuse her? But something in me held back. Not now, not when she was standing there, beaming with happiness, completely unaware of the storm inside me. So, I cleared my throat, trying to keep my voice steady. How far along are you? Her eyes sparkled. About 6 weeks. I took a test yesterday, and then I went to the doctor this morning to confirm. I wanted to be absolutely sure before I told you. 6 weeks. My mind was doing the math, calculating dates, recalling moments when I might have missed something, some sign. Nothing added up. I couldn't think of any moment in the last few months where something had seemed wrong, where I'd even suspected anything was off. Lisa had been her usual self, kind, loving, affectionate. How could I have missed this? That's great, I said, swallowing the lump in my throat. We're going to be parents. Lisa's smile widened, and she kissed me, her lips soft and warm against mine. I kissed her back, trying to suppress the rising panic. I couldn't let her know. Not yet. I needed time to figure this out, to process everything. What do you think? She asked, stepping back and placing her hands on her belly, which was still flat as ever. I mean, can you believe it? We're finally going to have a baby. I forced a laugh. Yeah, it's incredible. Wow, I'm a little shocked. I know. I was too. I didn't think it would happen so soon. But here we are. She grinned and then began rambling about baby names, nursery ideas, and how she couldn't wait to tell her parents. I nodded along, half listening, my mind spinning with the weight of what I'd just learned. I needed answers, but I couldn't get them right now. I couldn't accuse her out of the blue without more information. I couldn't let her suspect that I knew something was wrong. Not yet. James? Lisa's voice cut through my thoughts. Huh? You okay? You seem a little quiet. I smiled again, pulling her close. Just processing, that's all. It's a lot to take in. She laughed. Tell me about it. But we're in this together, right? You and me. I kissed her forehead, my heart heavy with the weight of a truth I wasn't ready to reveal. Yeah, I whispered, together. But deep down, I knew that the truth would come out eventually, and when it did, everything would change. The next few days felt like I was walking a tightrope. Lisa buzzed with excitement, her energy filling the house. She spent hours researching parenting blogs, flipping through baby name books, and planning how we would share the news with our family. I found myself playing along, laughing at her jokes, and pretending to be excited. All the while, the truth clawed at me, a constant reminder that I was living a lie. James, look at this, Lisa exclaimed one evening, her voice rising with enthusiasm as she waved her phone in my face. I glanced over from the couch where I was half-heartedly scrolling through my own emails. I found this amazing crib online, and it's on sale. I forced a smile, leaning closer to see the screen. That looks nice, I said, but my heart wasn't in it. But don't you think we should wait a bit? We haven't even told anyone yet. Her brow furrowed slightly. But we can't wait too long. We need to be prepared. Plus, the sale ends tomorrow. Okay, I replied, raising my hands in mock surrender. Let's grab it then. It's just, everything feels so sudden, you know? Lisa sighed, clearly eager to share her excitement. I get that, but it's a good sudden. We've been talking about this for a while, and now it's really happening. Isn't that what we wanted? I nodded, but inside, a storm was brewing. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was playing with fire. I needed to get to the bottom of this. The question of who the father was loomed over me like a dark cloud. Each time I saw her glowing smile, it felt like I was betraying her trust by not confronting the truth. The next day, after work, I decided I couldn't keep this up any longer. I had to talk to her. Maybe I could get some clues about how this could have happened, and who might be involved. I waited until dinner, as we sat together at the table, plates piled high with pasta. Lisa, can we talk about something important? I asked, my heart racing as I set my fork down. She looked up, her smile faltering slightly. Sure, what's on your mind? About the baby, I started, trying to keep my tone casual. You mentioned you went to the doctor, right? Of course. They confirmed everything. I can give you the paperwork if you want to see it, she said, her excitement returning. I swallowed hard, pushing down the wave of anxiety crashing over me. I believe you. But I mean, how did you know you were pregnant so quickly? 6 weeks is still pretty early. Lisa paused, her fork hovering over her plate. Well, I was late. And I've been feeling a bit off lately, so I figured it was worth checking. And then, well, there it was. I nodded slowly, trying to sound as supportive as possible. And you're sure there's no chance it's someone else's? The question hung in the air, and for a moment, it felt like time stood still. Lisa stared at me, confusion creasing her forehead. What do you mean? I mean, you know we haven't been trying for a baby, I said carefully, my heart racing. It just seems sudden, that's all. Her eyes narrowed slightly, but I could see the wheels turning in her mind. James, are you implying that I've been unfaithful? No. I'm not saying that at all. I rushed to explain, waving my hands defensively. I'm just trying to understand how this happened, that's all. We've been so busy lately. She set her fork down and leaned back, crossing her arms. You really think I would cheat on you? I don't think that. James, listen to me, she interrupted, her voice firm. I love you. I've always loved you. This baby is ours, and I would never do anything to jeopardize that. You're the only one I want. I swallowed hard, her words both comforting and painful. I believe you, Lisa. It's a lot to process. I'm sorry if I upset you. Her expression softened, and she reached out, placing her hand over mine. It's okay. I know this is a shock for both of us. But I promise you, I haven't been with anyone else. I nodded, but doubt gnawed at the edges of my mind. As much as I wanted to believe her, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, a million thoughts racing through my mind. I thought about our life together, the quiet moments, the laughter, the dreams we had shared. I loved Lisa, I really did. But could I trust her? The next morning, I woke up with a new resolve. I needed to find answers, not just for me, but for our future together. After breakfast, while Lisa was busy in the living room, I quietly pulled out my laptop and began searching for clues. I combed through social media, scanning through Lisa's friends and family, looking for anything that could hint at another relationship, any sign of betrayal. It felt wrong, invasive even, but I was desperate. I stumbled across a picture of Lisa from a recent birthday party, her arm wrapped around another guy, a look of genuine happiness on her face. My heart sank. It could mean nothing. Friends often posed together for pictures. I scrolled further, and my stomach twisted as I found comments from that same guy, flirty, teasing remarks that left me feeling hollow. Who's this guy? I murmured to myself, biting my lip as I tried to steady my breathing. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, and before I knew it, I was typing his name into the search bar. A moment later, I found his profile, handsome, with a charming smile and a life full of adventures. As I read through his posts, the dread grew heavier in my chest. His photos were filled with travels, friends, and laughter, all of which sparked something in me that I hadn't wanted to acknowledge before, a feeling of insecurity. James? Lisa's voice broke through my thoughts, and I quickly shut my laptop, my heart racing. What are you doing? Just checking emails, I said, forcing a smile. How about you? She stepped closer, her brow furrowed with concern. You seem a little on edge. Are you okay? I nodded, feeling the weight of my secret pressing down on me. Yeah, just tired. Long night, you know? Okay, well, I'm headed out for some errands. Do you need anything? She asked, grabbing her purse from the counter. No, I'm good. Just going to catch up on some work here, I replied, avoiding her gaze. All right, I'll be back soon, she said, giving me a quick kiss before walking out the door. As soon as she left, I reopened the laptop, my fingers trembling. I searched for the guy again, finding a thread on a forum that mentioned him. It seemed he was quite the charmer, known for flirting with married women. My heart raced. Could he be the one? I clicked on a link to a local news article that talked about a charity event they had both attended weeks ago. My gut twisted further as I read through the details. Lisa had mentioned going to that event, but had never mentioned who she went with. A sinking feeling filled me. Could she have met him there? Was this all a coincidence, or was it something deeper? I closed my laptop, my hands shaking. I needed to confront Lisa. But how? What if I was wrong? What if I ruined everything by jumping to conclusions? I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing heart. The truth was out there, and I had to find it. I would wait for her to come home, and when she did, I would figure out how to approach her, how to find out what was really going on before this charade spun completely out of control. In that moment, as I waited for her return, I knew that the future of our marriage hung in the balance. I just had to be careful. The hours dragged on, each tick of the clock echoing in the silence of the house. I paced the living room, anxiety gnawing at my insides. The afternoon sunlight streamed through the windows, casting warm shadows across the floor, but I felt cold, like I was standing in a storm. Lisa was supposed to be back any minute, and I needed to be prepared. I thought about our conversation at dinner, how she had looked at me with those trusting eyes. Could I really go through with this? What if I was wrong? The sound of the door opening snapped me out of my spiraling thoughts. Lisa walked in, her arms filled with grocery bags, a smile lighting up her face as she spotted me. Hey, I got everything on the list. I even picked up that fancy cheese you like, she said cheerfully, setting the bags down. What have you been up to? Just thinking, I replied, forcing a smile as I helped her with the bags. Got a lot on my mind. Her smile faltered just a bit. Oh. Is everything okay? I took a deep breath, the weight of my secret heavy in the air between us. Lisa, We need to talk. Her expression shifted, concern etched across her features. Okay. What about? I gestured for her to sit down, and I followed suit, my heart racing. It's about the baby. Her eyes widened slightly. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong with the baby, I rushed to clarify, my voice shaking. But I need to know how this happened. What do you mean? She asked, confusion clouding her eyes. I hesitated, searching for the right words. I mean, you told me you were pregnant, but you didn't say anything about how you got to that point. And I've been thinking about it a lot. Her face fell, and she looked away, picking at her fingernails. James, we talked about this. I've already told you everything. But have you? I pressed, feeling the tension crackle between us. You've been so happy, and I'm happy for you, but I can't shake the feeling that something isn't adding up. We never planned for this, and... Are you accusing me? She interrupted, her voice rising slightly. I told you I haven't been with anyone else. Then how did this happen, Lisa? I shot back, my frustration boiling over. We've both known I can't have kids. It doesn't make sense. For a moment, silence reigned. Her eyes darted away, and I could see the conflict on her face. James, please. You're scaring me. Scaring you? I'm the one who feels like my world is collapsing. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside. I just need you to be honest with me. Please. Lisa looked at me, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered, her voice barely audible. But I thought you would be excited. I thought. Thought what? I urged, my heart racing. What did you think would happen when I found out? I thought maybe you'd come around. I thought you'd be happy for us, she said, tears pooling in her eyes. I didn't mean for this to turn into a fight. I swallowed hard, my heart aching at the sight of her distress. I want to be happy for us. I really do. But I can't be if I feel like I'm living a lie. James, she said softly, wiping away a tear. I promise you, I'm telling you the truth. I've never cheated on you. I don't know how this happened, but I know it's real. Then how? I asked, my voice steadying. How did you get pregnant? She hesitated, looking down at her hands. I don't know, she finally said. But I need you to believe me. I love you. I've always loved you, and this baby. This baby is part of us, whether we planned for it or not. The sincerity in her voice pierced through my doubts, and for a moment, I felt the weight of uncertainty lift just a little. Lisa, I just want to understand. I need to know that you're not hiding anything from me. Okay, she said, her voice trembling. Let's go back to the last few months. Maybe if we can retrace our steps, we can figure it out together. All right, I agreed, leaning forward, desperate to uncover the truth. Tell me everything you remember. She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. After your doctor's appointment, we had that long talk about our future, how we wanted to take things slow. I felt so grateful for what we had, but then, I don't know, something changed. Changed how? I asked, sensing the tension in her voice. There was that charity event I went to, she said, her eyes locked on mine. It was a big deal. I met a lot of people, but I remember this one guy in particular, Tyler. He was charming and funny. I felt a connection, but I didn't think anything of it. I love you, James. I've always loved you. The name struck me like a bolt of lightning. Tyler. The guy I saw on your social media? Maybe, she admitted, her voice small. We talked a bit, but it was nothing more than flirting, I swear. But after that night, I don't know. I felt different. And then a couple of weeks later, I started feeling sick, and... Lisa, please be honest, I pressed gently, desperate to understand. You have to tell me if anything happened between you two. Did you sleep with him? Her face twisted in pain, and she shook her head. No. I didn't sleep with him. I swear. I was just caught up in the moment. But I felt guilty after the fact, knowing that I hadn't been completely honest with you. Guilty enough to keep it from me, I murmured, feeling the weight of her words. I know, and I'm sorry. But I didn't think it would lead to this, she said, her voice rising. I never thought I'd end up pregnant. I never wanted to hurt you. You have to believe me. I searched her eyes, feeling the turmoil within me. I want to believe you, Lisa. But it's hard when I don't understand how we got here. I know, she said, reaching across the table to grasp my hands. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. Just don't give up on me. As I looked into her eyes, I felt the love we shared. It was still there, buried beneath the fear and uncertainty. I squeezed her hands, searching for the right words to express the swirling emotions inside me. I won't give up, I said slowly, but we need to be open with each other. I can't handle any more secrets, Lisa. Not now. She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. No more secrets. I promise. I'll do everything I can to make this work. For us, and for our baby. Taking a deep breath, I felt a small flicker of hope ignite within me. Then let's take it one day at a time. We'll figure this out together. I love you, Lisa. I love you too, James, she whispered, relief washing over her features. As we sat there, hands intertwined, I knew we had a long road ahead. The challenges we faced would test our relationship in ways we had never imagined. But in that moment, I chose to believe in us, our love, our future, and the family we were about to create together, regardless of how it all began. Maybe we would never know how we got here, but I was determined to find a way forward. And together, we would face whatever came next, united in our love and the life we were building.